I'm excited to be along.
Make sure I don't want to get in the shot or anything.
Be too handy.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Handsy.
Introduce yourselves. Where do you work? What business do you own?
It's called the Winner's Circle.
Okay.
We sell this and that and over there, out there.
Who are you?
I'm Jeff Parada.
I'm Nancy Baker.
So you guys went to Europe
Yes.
We did.
for what?
For the fun of it.
It was an international Heeley meet.
European Heeley Meet 2023. And we basically got an email from Steve Kirby. He's done some other of these trips with smaller groups of his locals in California. And he started inviting a bunch of people. Had the idea, let's see if we can bring a bunch of people to this European Heeley Meet. And we looked at it, thought about it. We're debating whether or not it was financially feasible. And then remembered what all the old guys I've talked to tell me, like, do it while you can, because you'll regret not doing it later, versus being a little broke for a couple years. So we'll just be a little broke for a couple years.
What did you take? What did you drive?
It's it's registered as 61 because they titled it based on when it was sold, not when it was made. It's really a 60. Austin Healey Bugeye Sprite, one that's been to tons of conclaves. It's all over our website, on the calendar, if you're cool enough to have a calendar. And it got to go on a boat for about a month to go over there and meet us, along with, I think there were 30 cars total that went from the United States. Yeah.
How difficult it was to get through customs and get the car from the shippers?
Luckily, that had all been kind of taken care of by Steve Kirby. He had done this before. So for us, it was just, he had to jump through a lot of hoops for us as a group.
But getting the cars from Norway was pretty easy. But the thing for after we dropped them off to come home, that was all backed up.
That was
They
a
didn't
bigger
have enough
problem.
people.
Oh yeah, getting the cars there wasn't bad.
Yeah.
And then where did you go? Once everyone was mobile and running, where was the first place that you guys all drove to? Other than obviously the hotel or something
Right.
like that.
Yeah,
That was when we went to
Just
the
about
glass factory.
20-30 minute drive back to the hotel,
Yeah.
which was in Oslo. The shipping was outside of Oslo, but where the port was. So we drove 20-30 minutes. Most interesting part of that drive was we're on highways, and Oslo built all their highway system and tunnels underneath, and our GPS stops working when we're going in tunnels.
Oh, yeah.
So you're just going in, seeing signs in Norwegian for various exits. Luckily, someone else had gone ahead and goes, "You're looking for this exit." When you get out, it'll tell you where to go.
Follow the other Heelys.
Yeah. Well, we were the lead of our group.
Oh, okay, yeah, right, okay.
So they split us up into what he called flights. There were 5. 4.
Yeah, 5 to 7 cars per flight.
How many? Based that order we shipped out of.
Yeah.
So for us, it was choice of either going to Savannah
Yes.
or New Jersey. We've been to New Jersey, decided Savannah sounds nice.
Yeah.
So we ended up with a bunch of people from the South that we didn't know before, but became friends with all of them. They're all good people, and
Yeah.
we got to be their flight leaders, so they followed us everywhere.
Okay. That's cool.
Sometimes
That's cool.
faster than they thought we should be going,
Yeah.
but they all had big Heelys. I'm not sure what the deal was.
So you went from Oslo. How many days did you stay in Oslo?
It was about 3 days.
About 3
We
days.
Yeah.
picked up our car on the second day, and we still
Yeah.
had another day.
Kind of had a day to adjust,
Right.
and then
right.
sightsee for a couple days. So the car just sat in the parking lot for a couple days because public transit's everywhere there.
Yeah.
You can walk
Yeah.
everywhere, do some sightseeing tours.
Is
Ice
it
cream.
easy to drive? Because I've always noticed that in Europe sometimes they really would rather you use public transportation, so they make it a little bit more difficult to like drive inside towns and that kind of thing. Like they kind of skirt you around the outskirts.
In the bigger cities, it wasn't that easy.
Yeah, right.
That's the glass factory where they got all excited because we had a group of cars coming. So he decided to have an impromptu car show. So had the whole courtyard of the place reserved for us. We got to park in there, set up all our cars, And then at the same time we were there, they had an American car show out in front of the place with Norwegians with American cars, which is a little interesting to see.
Yeah.
Because we're Americans bringing British cars to Norway, then we had Norwegians taking American cars. A little different. And that's when we lost our first car.
Yeah. The first Bugeye got towed from there.
This is Sammy.
Sammy the shop cat. What happened with that car?
It started making bad sounds.
Ooh.
And transmission. He wasn't 100% sure what was going on, looked into it a bit. Most of the time we were there, he was looking at it with 30 opinions of different people, which can get a little frustrating because you probably know your car better than everyone else.
Yeah.
And eventually determined that for some reason he had no oil in his transmission. So transmission was shot. He advised us all go on without him. So we abandoned the leave no man behind. Left him behind, and he arranged to get his car towed back to Oslo and then rented a car for the rest of the trip, which was a shame for him, except for the fact that he brought a Concord Bugeye on this trip, which was 948 and original transmission and all that, and we were occasionally on highways that we needed to go 75 miles an hour, and his car didn't want to go 75 miles an hour, so that would have been a little bit of an issue.
Yeah.
And running some hills and that, it could have been a little tricky, but he was our early and first tragedy on the trip.
Yeah.
But he still had a good time because he got to go around and enjoy everything with us.
That's cool.
And his car's here now.
Yeah.
He had some people that we met there that he knew previously that run a transmission shop, Hardy Engineering, I think.
Yes.
And had them build 2 new transmissions for him, which he shipped here. We picked up his car from Savannah, brought it here, and we're going to swap transmissions for him.
Well,
On the way to Lillehammer
yeah.
is when I started having problems. Push the clutch, feel a big clunk. It's not supposed to do that. And we weren't sure what was going on exactly, except when I hit the brakes, it means the engine dies. And we got to the garage, did some looking, trying to figure out what was going on. She was a little worried that I was angry at that point because I was quiet. And the quiet's me running through, okay, what could be going on?
Possible scenarios, yeah.
What's my best case? What's my worst case? We know from earlier trips we've done, worst case is always you rent a car, you spend some more money, you ship the car somewhere, or you try and fix it and lose the day. I was hoping something hydraulic, something we can get to, something we can touch. We got there, I had her get in the driver's seat, push the clutch, and I'm watching and I can see the lever moving on the slave cylinder, so I know it's not a hydraulic problem. It's something internal, which means the only way I can fix it is pull the transmission, which means pull the engine. So
in a hotel parking lot.
Correct. Did some more testing of things. We left the clutch out. I think we put it in neutral and rolled it and could hear some nasty sounds like something was in there interfering. That's when we figured out something has probably broken inside the clutch or pressure plate. It's got Datsun 5-speed in it. So I called Will at Rivergate, and he said he's run into times before where the spring on the clutch plate has broken off, fallen behind, interferes, so you can push it, you get pressure, but it doesn't move like it's supposed to, so it never releases. And best guess is that's what happened. Haven't taken it apart yet, so I don't know. Figured nothing we could do right now. We still had a couple days drive till we got to Geringer. That's a special clutch. You can't just go to the store and buy it. It's made custom because it's a 1275 clutch that has a center spline for the Datsun transmission. I happen to know a friend of mine in town had his transmission out that had the same setup on. I called him. He shipped a clutch. We're figuring if we made it to Geringer, we could pull the engine transmission, swap the clutch, put it back together, be on our way. That never came true.
No, because it never made it to us.
Clutch never showed up. It got stuck in customs until we were leaving over a week later.
Yeah.
So we shipped it back home. Drove the car the rest of the way, which means every time we stop, you shut off the car. Every time you start, it's in first gear. When you crank, you're moving. And you get good at matching your shifts.
Yeah.
Rev matching for 2,000 miles or so.
That seems really nerve-wracking.
It was. Especially since when it first happened, we were in the hilliest part of any of the driving. So shifting for the turns in that first day, we told our group that maybe you should go without us, and then the guy who had his Bugeye drive, Ken Grazing, they volunteered to follow us in case something happened, because we didn't know at that point exactly what was going on. We decided to go ahead and go separate from them, because well, if there's a problem, we don't want to hold all you up, and we don't want to have to worry about keeping you with us, which would mean changing speeds more often, shifting more often. Luckily, I'm in a car I know really well. It handles really well, so I can go quicker speeds around the turns, so I don't have to downshift all the time. But then when you got big Heelys that are really good in a straight line and like to lumber around the turns, they don't like that, and you lose them.
Yeah.
So we figured it's better to separate and figure out what we're doing, and it worked. And we made it.
Yes.
And we're
But
here.
Even though we had the clutch problem, you were still determined while we were in Lillehammer to go bobsled.
Yes.
When in Rome, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a little freaked out, thinking, well, what if we don't get back? I figured we're not that far, somebody can come get us, but so he still did that.
The key to this is to not let her know that things could go horribly wrong.
It's not as bad. It's not as bad.
Or
as,
remind her that things have been worse, because we did blow up an engine once on a trip.
Yeah.
And we shipped the car, and we still had fun. While you're there, there's nothing you can do about it. It's already happened. You
Yeah.
can either be worried about what's already happened and ruin your trip,
Yeah.
or you just continue to have fun, and we're here. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And I looked up and found out they have a place that you can ride a bobsled. Where else am I going to get to ride a bobsled?
Yeah.
Which is terrifying, by the way. What else do you know?
And then where did you go?
I don't know.
Which country? No. So
This is all Norway.
I
This
believe
is all in Norway, right? So you
Yes.
can cross.
from Lillehammer, then the next day was going to Geiringer.
Okay.
And stopped along the way and saw that in the church.
Yes.
The lone,
A stave church?
yeah,
Is that what they
Stave
call
church,
it?
yeah.
Very famous.
Ancient wooden church.
Viking era.
Yeah.
or-
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Geiringer's where the meet actually was.
Oh, okay.
So there were 200 and something cars.
Yeah.
From officially Europe,
Yeah.
but there were 30 of us from America. There was a group that was from Australia. I believe all the rest were European cars.
Yeah.
Almost all big Heelys. I think total there were maybe 5 Sprites.
Yeah.
Wow. Really?
And the best Sprite
Well,
clearly was ours.
the most reliable Sprite in the world.
And the best in the world, because
Yeah.
it's now got an international award from the car show as the best Sprite.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
The only car show award it has is
The
from
only
that.
time we washed the car. For the car
That is
show.
true.
Right.
We were looking around going, we got a shot. So we went out and washed the car with water and paper towels.
Yeah. Yeah.
Water out of water bottles
Nice.
and paper towels.
Yeah. And so while we were there for a week, and then there were road trips every day that you could take.
Oh, okay.
So we limped it everywhere.
Yeah. Nice.
I don't
Especially
live very well.
Yeah, that Trollstigen, which was called the Troll's Path. And it's very windy and lots of sharp turns, and so we did that.
Switchback, goat trail.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
I think Geiringer might be the prettiest place on Earth. It's in a fjord surrounded by snow-covered mountains. There's waterfalls everywhere coming in. As you go down the switchbacks, when you get to the turn, there's waterfall coming down that turn, and that's just snow melting off the top of the mountains. Those roads didn't open up till a couple weeks before we were there
Yeah.
because there was so much snow, and it's not that cold.
I know you guys since you're running a convertible, soft top, I know you guys have done some work to get some heated gear and get ready for the cold because you didn't know exactly what was going to happen. Did you was that? I mean, I know were there certain times that was a pretty heavy factor? Or?
Eventually, the whole time in Gehringer was pleasant.
Yeah. Like 70s.
Mid 60s to mid 70s.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
When you're in the warmer places, comfortable in a t-shirt, always wore pants there. Colder places, put on this,
Yeah.
and I was comfortable
Oh, right.
driving. We had top down the whole time.
Oh, nice.
We planned for extra gear, so my car has no heater. We took the heater out. We instead have an ammo box that has extra tools and parts in it.
How much stuff did you take with you? But you were basically packed to the gills. The car itself was packed to the gills when you got there, right?
We just sent ahead basically our winter gear because we were going for summertime, and we figure we don't need heated jackets. We don't need winter gear.
Yes, we sent all that in.
Yeah, and garbage bags, and the spare parts and tools and all that were already with the car. The rest of it we just brought over with us, just clothes for the trip. And we usually, when we pack for these trips, we plan out, okay, it's going to be this weather for a couple days, and we'll have a bag that goes into the room every night that's got toiletries and all that kind of stuff, the stuff you need nightly. And then there'll be across the back of the Bugeye, just over the hump, there will be assorted bags, usually those little free ones you get that have little strings and drawstring on them, and they'll have a day or two of clothes in it. So like when we went out west, we'd know, okay, it's gonna be hot these days, it's gonna be cold these days, so we knew what
When you went
plan.
from Cincinnati to Northern California.
All of Route 66,
All of Route 66.
and back. But this was basically the same clothes all the time, so we just put a couple days worth of clothes in a bag, and then you grab the bag for a couple days and your other bag, and then you're not hauling everything you own. And putting a real suitcase in the back doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
You could put that in nothing else probably, or if you put small stuff that's squishable, you
Put
can
it in the
stuff
corners.
it.
Yeah, good idea.
It wasn't our first rodeo with that.
Yeah.
And then Bergen, an interesting story is someone left their antique-y looking suitcase on the back of their car, and it got stolen while in the garage. And we're the lucky ones that they were in our flight. So we told our flight to go on, and we waited with them while they reported it and whatever, and dragged them along to the next stop.
I think he got lost or something coming back from the police station too, and got a ride somehow.
I think he had to get a ride to
They got lost going to the garage.
Yes. They were
And
right behind
somebody
us.
in our group saw them and picked up one of them and brought them back and had them follow.
Oh,
Because one couple went on their own ahead of us and saw them driving around while they were out walking and got in the car with them and helped them find the garage.
One of the big things we found out in Norway is they have tunnels everywhere.
Yes.
One of our options one day was to go through, I think it was the world's longest tunnel,
Yeah. Something like 26 kilometers long.
or to go up and over what was in the, what was that book we had?
It's just called Scandinavian. Rick Steve's guide.
It was a guide to touring Scandinavian, and he described it as one of the most beautiful drives in the area, so we chose to do hilly, windy road.
Going over the mountain instead of under the mountain.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
And figured, the car's broke, but we're here, let's do it. And it was amazing. You'd wind through little one lane for a lot of it, where it would occasionally widen so a car could pass, because it's one lane both directions.
Yeah.
Cars coming the other way, then you decide who's getting out of the way.
Yeah.
And then you get to the top, it's like the world opens up and it's snow covered and absolutely amazing, and then you zigzag your way back down.
Yeah.
It was a really cool drive.
With no clutch.
Well,
Yeah.
With no clutch.
That's how you drive.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't think I ever, and I still don't fathom exactly what he was doing to keep the car going. Because I do hear some grinding, and then, oh, I got this gear. And I'm like, okay, I guess it's all right.